I'm Helen.
And I'm Liz.
And we're sisters,
Scientists.
and lifelong X-Files fans.
And this is We Want to Believe.
All right. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
I am in cold, rainy Wisconsin, and Liz
is in Mexico in the lobby of a resort recording this. So if you hear music in the background, it's because I'm not in optimal recording conditions, but in a way, also I am because I'm in Mexico.
Yeah, I can see your swimsuit under your tank top, and you're holding some sort of delicious looking beverage.
Yeah, it is called a tropical fizz. It is sparkling water, papaya, mint, and lemon juice.
Oh my gosh, that sounds so good. What's it like?
I just need to say it is incredible. If any of our listeners want a recommendation, I am at Catalonia Royal Tulum.
Oh, okay.
By the time this airs, I won't be there. So if you're trying to stalk me, it won't work. But it's a fairly affordable resort. It's about an hour and a half south of Cancun, and it's so pretty. Oh my God, the wildlife I have seen. There are all of these coatimundis.
Oh yeah.
You saw some. That's right. You saw them when you were in Mexico, and you watched them. Like, what was the story?
Yeah,
the romantic moment that they ruined.
Yeah. So they had the resort that we were at, which was also beautiful.
Hotel Xcaret.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Xcaret.
You do the same thing that I do. Is you want to say it like it's French as opposed to Mayan. Yeah.
Yeah. But they had these like beautiful like beach beds. So these like nice, like covered kind of like mini pergolas with a bed underneath. And I was 8 months pregnant with William at the time.
Right.
And Zach and I were like laying on the beach and reading, and it was great. And we watched a coatimundi kind of waddling up or stalking up, or they're nice.
They're like a pointy raccoon.
Yeah.
They're
like the greyhound of raccoons. Yeah.
Yes, but smarter, because I have a story about them as well.
No.
Yeah.
And we watch it, and we're like, oh, how cute. And we watch it then scale a palm tree and start eating eggs from a bird's nest. And the like big birds are there trying to like dive bomb it. And it's like a horrible scene. Yeah. But then you also have a guti. Is that how you say it?
Guti. I don't know. I mean, look, this is a new animal to me. It's like a miniature capybara crossed with my dog.
I've never seen those before.
I know. I was like, what the hell is that? Like, because like the way the resort is set up is like the lobby, like you kind of come in from the highway or whatever. There's the big lobby, and then a few restaurants, and then you like basically walk through a beautiful path through the jungle with like the buildings on either side, but there's a lot of trees.
Cool.
Like mangroves and stuff, and and there's all this wildlife in the trees. And so when we checked it,
any little primates?
Helen, I haven't seen any, but there are signs up about the common animals you'll see, and one of them is a monkey. So I've never seen a monkey in the wild. I told Adam,
really? Not on your other trips to Mexico? Really?
No.
Oh, wow.
No. Yeah.
I didn't realize.
2 out of the 3 times we were in Mexico, we were at like Hotel Zone Cancun, resort. If I were a monkey, I would live anywhere near there.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then when we were in Puerto Vallarta, I don't know. They didn't have monkeys?
Yeah.
I don't know. We didn't see any. But I did see dolphins and a whale. So,
I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah. But yeah, supposedly there are monkeys that live around here. But we were told, and we were at the 3rd floor. We were like, they told us you're required to keep your balcony door locked if you are, unless you're like, awake or whatever, like right there. Because the coatimundis would scale up there, and they have learned how to open the doors, and they break into rooms and steal stuff. And one of our friends who's here, who we're doing this writing retreat with, talked to someone who had Oreos stolen out of her room by one last night.
Who had Oreos?
Yeah.
Oh my God, they're like Gatsby's.
Yeah. So yeah, they're quite clever. And then they mentioned that, and you have a safe in the room. And I wanted to be like, have they learned how to crack the safes yet?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's like a really beautiful, jungly, like mostly outside. Like this is all open air where I am right now, so I'm kind of sweaty, but who cares?
Yeah.
It's
Because you're in a
like
bathing suit. You're not.
exactly,
Yeah, right. Oh my
I'm in
gosh.
like a bathing
Oh,
suit, a sarong, and whatnot. So like,
wow.
yeah, it's awesome. And it was a long drive to get down here from the airport, but again,
Oh,
who
really?
cares? Yeah, it was like an hour and a half.
And you're going to be there for how long?
9 nights.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes it so worth it then.
We're doing the writing retreat. Yeah, exactly. If we were here for 3 nights, I wouldn't have wanted to be in the car that long, but
yeah.
fine. Yeah.
Wow. I had I'm part of a Facebook group called PhD Moms, and someone was like, does anyone know of any like academic writing retreats? Like I see all these ones that are like focused on like novels, but any ones that are like for academic? And I responded, I was like, no, but my sister's travel company does these and we should do it.
Helen,
what?
I had a woman contact me about this trip who wanted to do academic writing. And it was like last minute. When did you tell her this?
Yesterday.
Oh, then no. Okay.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, we didn't have, it was just too late when she contacted me for it to work out. But she was like, yeah, I'm doing academic writing because it's all about like, you have time to write and then you talk to other people, but like, why not do an academic thing? And but if you got other academics, then you can talk about your research and stuff.
Totally. And then I could like have a legitimate excuse to go to Mexico. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Not that vacation isn't legitimate. More what I mean is that I could use some of my like work funding.
Money. Yes, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, if anyone listening to this is like, maybe I'd like to go there, you can email us at wewanttobelievepod@gmail.com and then I'll direct you to me and I will help you. So,
or what's your travel email address?
travel@leapinghound.com.
Cool.
Or just go to leapinghound.com and you'll find us there.
Cool.
Because this is so jungly and like I took a long walk on the beach this morning. Well, okay. We'll get to the X-Files eventually, but this is the first time Helen and I have talked since I arrived in Mexico. Yeah. So like we got up really early. We had breakfast. Then we split up, exercised, and then we had another breakfast. So it's great.
That's the dream.
So Adam went to the gym and I took a long walk on the beach. I saw another excellent animal. It was a schnauzer.
A what? Oh,
it was a schnauzer. It was a big schnauzer. Yeah. And it was so happy to be there. It was just like, sand. I go in a circle. And yeah, Adam saw 2 of those agoutis playing today.
Oh,
yeah.
What category mammal are they? What would we call these? Are they
agoutis? Are rodents? They're rodents. Yes.
Oh.
But apparently there's a type of possum that is not found in the United States that also lives around here. So we're keeping our eyes out for that too.
That would be exciting.
I know.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, yeah, we have a lot of physics to talk about today.
No way. Okay. I am ready.
Yeah, I'm not.
We should have switched that last episode with like epidemiology and whatever. I'm like, this is a Helen episode. Well, let's start with this. Was X in this episode?
Yeah.
No. No. No.
Yeah.
What have I done wrong?
I don't know.
We switched. Come on, man. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it opens in Richmond, Virginia, in a hotel, and it's very characteristically dark and dramatic. And there's a guy getting ready for bed, and the elevator opens, and Monk / Abe Weissman from The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Yeah,
he's the actor.
Anthony was his name on Wings. I don't know why that came
was
to
he
me
on
suddenly.
Wings too?
He was,
Oh,
yeah. What is that guy's name?
I can't think of the name. Tony Shalhoub?
Tony Shalhoub. Yeah.
Tony Shalhoub.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So he gets out and is knocking on doors and saying, Morris, it's me. I need to talk to you. And the guy in the hotel room seems
Antonio. His name was Antonio on Wings. And then his name is Tony in real life, and that's where we got the scramble. Okay. I'm so sorry. He comes out of the elevator.
Yeah. And is looking for a guy named Morris. And we see the guy who's getting ready for bed not here right away, and his lamp is being weird. And so then
this is Soft Light is the name of the episode.
Yes, Soft Light. Yes. And so then
maybe lamps are important.
Lamps are important. Yes.
Okay. Ready.
And so the guy getting ready for bed finally hears him, and he goes to the peephole and like looks out the peephole, and the guy, Tony Shalhoub, is knocking on the door across from his.
Okay.
And then we see like a portal open in the hall. Like a burn. Yeah, like a burn in the carpet. And the guy standing at the peephole is gone. And then it's the intro.
Wait, how is a burn in the carpet also a portal?
Well, the portal burned the carpet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Got it.
So Mulder and Scully are at the hotel, and the police think that it's a series of abductions. And a former student of Scully's, from when she was teaching at the academy, contacted her because she's the lead detective, and the police have hit a brick wall. And so the woman's name is Kelly Ryan, and they greet Kelly, and she says, I've heard a lot about you to Mulder. And he gives Scully a look and goes, "We'll talk later," which was great.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And so apparently the man who's missing is from Morley Tobacco. There is no cigarette smoking man in this episode, but I thought that was noteworthy.
Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. And his name is Patrick Newworth. And so Scully, this was also good. They're like investigating the hotel room, and she's looking at the heat vent, and Kelly goes, "Agent Scully, what are you looking at? You don't think anyone could squeeze in through there?" And and Mulder goes, "Well, you'd be surprised."
This sounds good. Was this a good one?
Not after this. I mean, it was fine. It was fine. Like it was fine. It was a decent episode. A little conspiracy-ish, a little not. But it wasn't like particularly entertaining besides this.
Okay.
Yeah. So Mulder then sees the black burn on the floor and says that there were similar marks at the other scenes. And Kelly says that they tested them and that they're mostly carbon with some potassium and minerals, which Scully mentions could be from burned human flesh, which I thought was kind of a leap, while true.
Yeah.
And Mulder notices that part of the burn mark looks like a hand, like someone's arm was there, and that it's exactly where someone would have been standing if they were looking through the peephole.
Okay.
So they go into the hallway then to see like what someone could have been looking at. And they noticed that the overhead light bulb was messed with. And I couldn't get if it was like unscrewed or if it was just like they noticed someone had messed with it or it burned out. And so they noticed that, and Mulder asks Kelly to pull prints from it. And she says that the last person before this who went missing was named Margaret Wisenecki, I believe. And Kelly says that this is her first case. And Mulder asks why they gave it to her, and she thinks it was because no one wanted it. And so they're walking out. Mulder says his first thought is spontaneous human combustion.
It's always a first thought. Absolutely. Yeah. And I've shared before my story about spontaneous human combustion that our older cousin told me could only happen if you were awake in an effort to get me to go to sleep. Yeah.
Right. That's right. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
So they go to the victim's house, to Margaret Wisenecki's house, the previous victim. And they're walking up the driveway, and Mulder notices that the light in the street lamp has been unscrewed. And so they enter the house, and they see a black mark in the hallway.
Oh.
And we find out that Margaret also worked for a tobacco company, but they point out that a lot of Richmond does, which is true.
I guess Virginia, that makes sense. Yeah.
Right. And that apparently the first victim was an engineer. So that kind of,
Okay. Yeah.
And they find a train ticket in Margaret's garbage. And apparently Patrick Newark, was also on the train the day that he disappeared into a portal and burned the carpet. And so now Mulder thinks that people are just being hunted and that the person is stalking them through the train station, which is a much better theory. in my
Yeah.
opinion, than
I'm not
spontaneous
sure what
combustion.
he's doing with them with the burn marks after he
Yeah.
gets them, but okay.
Right. Oh, well, there's a mention of like maybe it's not spontaneous human combustion. Maybe it's the regular kind.
I mean, I remember you
purposeful.
looked this up at some
I
point
did.
during season 1, and
Mhm.
it's not easy to. I'm suddenly
No.
in public. It's not easy to set up a person on fire.
No, it's
Um,
not. No, you can't just like, it's not like paper. I mean, we don't
Right,
just
like-
go up in flames and then stand in
Right.
one spot and wait as like
Yeah.
in a matter of seconds. Yeah.
Here I
no.
go. Yeah.
Right. So it shows Abe Weissman in my notes.
Right, yeah.
Tony Shalhoub. Later we find out his name is Chester. So it shows
Okay.
Chester at the train station, and he's looking haggard and smoking and kind of like looking displeased. And he walks outside, and we see the street lamps being weird around him. And so remember, Mulder and Scully had made the connection that maybe it's someone who's stalking them through the train station, right?
Right.
And so the street lamps are being weird around him, and a policeman walks up and says he wants to ask him a few questions, but then he starts to run. Tony Shalhoub does.
Okay.
And but then another policeman comes and they corner him, and he warns them to stay away from him and says he doesn't want to hurt them. And, you know, it's kind of like a don't come any closer sort of a situation.
Yeah. So is he like involved? I guess I'm just starting to speculate. I know I
Sure.
saw this episode.
Mhm.
I have a vague memory of the title and of Tony Shalhoub being in an X-File. I don't remember anything that happens though, so I'm kind of
Yeah.
guessing. So is he like there's something about him that
Mhm.
is involuntarily zapping people to death?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
All
kind
right.
of. Mhm.
We got to find out what that is. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you're going to love the answer.
Oh boy. Uh-oh.
Yeah. I think, I don't know, or maybe it's perfectly sound physics. I'm not a physicist. I don't know. Speaking of physicists, if you haven't yet, go back and listen to our last episode, which was
Yeah.
a bonus episode where we talked to Matt Siegler, who is an astrophysicist. So you should listen to that.
Lots about Mars, lots of other great stuff. I learned a lot.
Yeah.
It was
Oh, yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah, that was great.
Honestly, talking to him made me miss because I teach physics, but I teach
Yeah.
intro classes. I teach the same topics every year.
Yeah.
And
oh, really?
That's kind of it,
Oh.
I'm just kind of
Mhm.
teaching. And like, I think if I pushed my department, I could teach modern, but then I'd have to do a bunch of prep. And I'm like,
Mm. Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know, hearing about someone actively engaged in the physics community and doing all this like cool research about the temperature of stuff on Mars, like it was really
Mhm.
like inspiring and interesting. So
Yeah. Yeah. This reminds me that yesterday? No, a couple days ago, I gave a presentation we have like a thing at our college where faculty will present on like their current research and some like teaching
how'd it
theory
go?
and stuff. It went really well. And my colleague Rachel introduced me, and she came up to me beforehand and went, "Can I mention your podcast in your introduction?" I was
Oh my
like,
gosh.
"Sure."
So theoretically, your coworkers are listening to this. Awesome.
Yeah. So
Hi, Helen's
welcome,
coworkers.
colleagues. Yeah.
We should start every episode that way. Welcome, colleagues, to another
Yeah.
episode.
Right. So he comes out with his hands up and keeps like nervously glancing at the street lights and looking at the cops. And he's like looking at one of their shadows. And as it gets closer to him, the policeman erupts into goo or is sucked into a vortex or has his goo sucked into a vortex. I don't know. And so I think it's interesting.
He has his goo sucked into a vortex.
Yeah. I think it's interesting. There's this like theme of physics being evil. Like, doesn't it seem like there are all these episodes of like physics gone wrong?
I mean, isn't essentially the X-Files about science gone wrong? Almost like 50% of the time. It's just
yeah. It seems like physics seems to be overrepresented though.
See,
Although I
feel like
guess
it's
biology is too.
I feel like it's underrepresented. I feel like there's way
Oh.
more biology gone wrong.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I mean, like or a little chemistry gone wrong, mostly biology
Yeah.
gone wrong. It seems like, or just monsters. I don't know.
Well, I feel like, yeah, I feel like the physics will get you. So then,
I guess my most recent episode, I saw some biology get people as
right.
well,
Sure.
with all of the
Yeah.
pustules and
Oh, sure.
death
Mhm.
and bursting.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway,
Physics has occasionally done me wrong, but only psychologically.
not to this dramatic of a
No.
degree.
Yeah, if you fail your physics exam, you get sucked
Yeah.
into goo.
Yeah.
So we see Mulder and Scully there in the alley where this occurred in the morning. And Kelly says that she had sent those patrolmen down there, like Mulder and Scully had told her to, and now they're missing and she's kind of in trouble. And
Yeah. Well, that's not her. Whatever. Okay.
yeah. And she also says that there were no matches for the prints that were on the light bulb, because she had run them and there was nothing. And so they get back into the car, and Mulder says that they might have enough to identify the killer because they know that he would have been at the train station that night and then the other 2 days that people went missing. And so they go to look at the security footage, and they're watching it and going over things, and it, is clear they've been there for a long time. And eventually they see a guy that's sitting on the bench who's appearing in several different clips. And he's just sitting on the same bench looking at the floor. And so they zoom in on him.
And
it's Tony Shalhoub.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they notice that he has a polarity magnetics symbol on his jacket, which is where the first victim worked as an engineer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they go to polarity magnetics. And
I'm getting nervous.
About the physics.
Yep.
Yeah, you should be. So it shows a guy answer, and they show him the picture of Tony Shalhoub at the bench at the train station and ask if they know him. And he says, yeah, that's Dr. Chester Banton, and says that he was his business partner. But it's the first time he's seen him in 5 weeks after Chester was involved in a terrible accident.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
So they're walking then with this guy. We later find out his name is Chris, in a very poorly lit building, which I have never been in any sort of science facility. Oh, no, that's not true. I worked in the, what's that?
Yeah, I'm just waiting for this answer. Where you work that was so dark.
Yeah, the old biochemistry building at UW-Madison. They had a new modern biochemistry building, but then they had the old one, which is where I worked, and it was very old. It was very poorly lit, and like lights would flicker on and off, and the bathrooms were ancient, and it was yeah. There was nothing creepy going on, but I do remember walking down the hallways sometimes when it was later and feeling kind of freaked out because it was an ancient building. Almost no one worked there anymore. And it was very poorly lit with lights flickering, and it was a little creepy. Yeah. Anyway.
It seems like possibly the start of a horror movie or the cold open of an X-File.
Yeah. Yeah. And so Chris is telling them that they mostly work on magnetic trains and transportation and stuff. But for Chester, that was just a way to pay the bills for researching the theoretical stuff that he was interested in, like dark matter, quantum mechanics, and neutrinos.
Wait, I'm sorry. Okay,
now hold on. This is where I have questions for you specifically.
Yep.
So Scully says, well, no one even knows that they actually exist.
What?
Which I know, these theoretical.
What is the they?
The theoretical particles, they mentioned
neutrinos, dark matter. What are we talking about?
Gluons.
Oh, yeah, those are real.
Oh,
that's a gluon.
Okay, but when did they? Because I know that they didn't. When did they figure this stuff out? Though, did they know about these things in '95?
So, I know that some subatomic particles were definitely still being discovered in the 90s. For example, the top quark, I think they found physical evidence of it in 95 at Fermilab because I remember working there in 2005 and they had cake and a big sign that says top turns 10. So,
wow.
Yeah.
They always had cake and cookies and stuff, didn't they? I feel like you have so many snack stories.
Every day at 3:30, there was cookies and tea except on Fridays when it was wine and cheese.
Oh
which
my God.
is, you'll recall what happened is
I recall.
Yes. I'll tell her, I don't know that I've told this story that
I don't know either.
I was a young grad student and a professor who worked at Fermilab, but not in the astrophysics division, was going to introduce me to a guy in the astrophysics division who he said maybe I could be a research assistant for. He could be kind of my co-advisor for my thesis. And the idea
Which he was, right?
And he was, yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so the plan was maybe they could I could have an advisor from NIU and an advisor from Fermilab, even though it wasn't associated with it, and I could do that research so I could do astronomy. And we were going to meet at the wine and cheese thing, and driving there, it was about a 45-minute drive. I was like, I'm hungry. I'm hungry. And I was like, well, they're going to have cheese and crackers, but I might just go crazy on them, was my thinking, because I'm so hungry and I want to make a good impression. And I was like, I should not eat until I'm done with this meeting. And less than a year out of undergrad, not an experienced drinker. When I did drink, I drank things like Mike's Hard Lemonade, Smirnoff Ice, things that made you your teeth hurt because of the sugar, you know? And so in my head, I thought wine is fancier, therefore it's probably less alcoholic. And so when I got there, Jim, the scientist I was going to meet, was not yet there, but my professor was, and he said, have a glass of wine. And so I had a glass of white wine, and then I had another glass of white wine. And I still was really hungry. And then I met Jim, the scientist. And as I was talking to him, I realized I'm drunk. This is real bad. And then he said, yeah, let's go up to my office. It's on the 11th floor. Do you mind if we take the stairs? So I had to climb 11 flights of stairs while trying to not reveal that I was drunk.
Oh my God. Yes, I would mind.
Yeah.
God.
Now that I'm like, I don't know, older and more fully formed or whatever, I would be like, nah, I'm going to take the elevator. I'll see you up there.
Yeah. For real.
11th floor. Like, no.
Oh my God. No. Oh,
yeah.
Geez.
This resort doesn't have elevators, and we're on the 3rd floor, which is the top floor. So it's not a big deal, but I'm still kind of like, let me go. Going up the stairs. I'm so great. Look at me, how fit I am.
It doesn't have them at all. That's pretty inaccessible. Isn't
I
it?
think they have ground floor. For accessibility reasons,
okay.
they have ground floor accommodations. So.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
So here's the thing though, with a lot of these particles, even if they're theoretical in the way of like the theory of gravity. Like we know they're there, they're just hard to measure. Like we're not exact. Like if you'll recall Matt Siegler talking about how had he done particle physics, he might just be working out like the exact mass of some particle out to the far decimal place, you know, like we don't know exacts, but we know they're there. We can study their interactions. It's just hard to find them exactly. And so that's all. It's not like we're talking about wormholes, which I still have not done the research I need to do so I can possibly correct myself. But like these are well established, and dark matter in particular, I could go on and on about.
Oh, okay. Well, you might have an opportunity. So
awesome.
So the guy says that Chester was working to isolate a new particle and shows them a room with the super collider.
I need to talk now. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Again, something that Matt mentioned last week, or at least like kind of alluded to, physics nowadays is done on the most enormous scale. You have teams of hundreds of people for projects like this. No one is working alone to find a particle.
What about with Chris? Can they work
like in pairs?
Another guy. Yeah.
I mean, I want to say it seems highly unlikely.
Okay. Well, this goes poorly for him.
Okay. So. I mean, okay. But just to get because we have a much smaller particle accelerator outside of Madison, and just to get your experiment approved to use that accelerator, it's like very competitive to get the time to use it. And it's generally like teams of people who are parts of other research projects. So like I was with somebody doing a project that at least was like one professor and several grad students. And
Yeah.
me, yeah, not a good time, that particular experience, but that's a story for another day. But
yeah.
To give me time to decide if I want to use that woman's name or not. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, I think it would be hard to just be doing anything in isolation. And the other thing is like you get a section of the beamline. There's other experiments all around you and other teams set up. And so, okay, all right.
Okay.
Chester's trying to find a particle. Maybe I'll just let you talk for a bit.
And there's like a room with a super collider.
Okay.
And now, do I understand correctly that they have to be in tunnels? Or no,
Sure.
am I thinking of something else?
I mean, they usually are in tunnels because they're long.
Okay, so this is like a room.
I mean, we had a room with the beamline in it at that place outside of Madison, but it's still in like tubes, like, and it's still part of it's in a tunnel. The one at Fermilab is in
part of a tunnel.
Yeah, I mean, like the one at Fermilab is in a tunnel because it's enormous. It's like it's and it's same with CERN. The one at CERN, we're talking about like things the size of small towns almost. Like the diameter of these things are huge. But the one at CERN, I believe the one at CERN goes under some international borders.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah.
Apparently
27-kilometer ring is the one at CERN. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So like you can see why it would have to be a tunnel, but if it's a smaller one, I could see it being in a room in a way, a giant room.
Okay. I mean, this was like the size of my office. I mean, I have a decently sized office.
It's a little baby collider. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So apparently Chester had everything set up for isolating this new particle.
Okay.
When he realized that there was something wrong in the target room, but the countdown had already started and they can't stop it. So the other guy didn't realize that it was too late and that the door had, I'm sorry, Chester didn't realize that it was too late and that the door had locked behind him. Wait, no, the other guy didn't realize either. Neither of them realized that the door had locked behind him.
Okay.
And so it wasn't until it was too late and the thing actually went off then that the guy realized that Chester had been locked in there. That's the point.
Okay.
And so they walk in the room with the collider, I guess, and see that Chester's shadow has been burned onto the wall.
Ooh.
And Chris, the other guy, he thinks that Chester survived because the particles have no mass and slid right through his body, like getting a super powerful X-ray.
Okay. I mean, there are neutrinos that are going through us all the time.
Oh, really?
So,
like straight through? Like,
sure. Of course. You've got them going through you right now. Anyone listening to this has neutrinos going through them.
Oh, is there anyone who doesn't?
No one who's
do they go through inorganic things? Like, do they go through?
Yeah, the reason that they're so hard to measure is that they almost barely interact. It's really tough to get them to interact with anything. So they're just going on their merry way, being very small. In the same way that, like, imagine like a jungle gym. The jungle gym is you.
Okay.
The neutrino is like, I don't know, a bee. A bee could just fly on right through and not touch anything.
Oh, I see. Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
Wow, they're so tiny that like our cells and molecules are weird.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
So Mulder and Scully are still talking in the room and Chris kind of leaves and we see him creepily watching them through the camera to the room. So foreshadowing.
Ooh.
So we're back at the train station.
Shadowing. Okay.
Hey.
Very nice.
And so they're back at the train station and Mulder and Scully are waiting, hoping that Tony Shalhoub shows up. I would love it if I was at a train station and Tony Shalhoub shows up. I mean, that's ideal. He seems like he'd be a nice guy. And Mulder is sitting on the bench staring at the floor, trying to figure out what he could have been looking at.
Right.
And he notices that the lighting is diffused. He calls it soft light, and that there are hardly any shadows.
Okay.
So
is
they
Tony
then-
Shalhoub's shadow killing people? Okay,
yeah,
I'll just
kind
wait.
of. Yeah.
This is incredible.
So they see him. He shows up. But when they call his name, he runs. So they chase
Okay.
him and they eventually corner him. And he says, just leave me alone. I don't want to hurt anyone. They're making a big mistake, all that sort of stuff. And Mulder's shadow is about to touch his. And he says that it will kill you and that it doesn't care who you are. And then the light bulbs burst so that they're suddenly in darkness. I couldn't tell if Mulder shot them out or if they just burst spontaneously. I think Mulder shot them out
Okay.
so that they were then in darkness.
Okay.
So he's in then some sort of mental facility. And he apparently insisted on being in soft light while he's in there.
Okay.
And he says that he tells Mulder and Scully that he's been living in the train station and is afraid to sleep because and he says that it has to do with dark matter. He says, wait, so that I can get it all out and then you can comment.
Okay.
He says that his shadow isn't his. It's like a black hole. It splits molecules into component atoms, reducing matter into pure energy. Would you like to comment on any of that?
There's so many words. Okay. So just going back for a second to something actually kind of grim. You said that his shadow was burned onto something, right? When that incident happened?
Yes.
I don't know, but that reminds me, it seems kind of like a horrible reference that in Hiroshima, when the bomb was dropped,
Yeah.
the light was so blinding that it bleached out concrete and such. And so people's shadows were permanently burned in, or is what it looks like. What it actually is that the surroundings were bleached. And so where there was a shadow stayed. So you can see photos of people's shadows from when it hit. And other things, shadows as well, like with a ladder and whatnot. So
geez.
it's deeply horrifying.
Yeah. Man.
So I feel a little bit like, ooh, is there a way to not make me think of emotional in reference to this, sci-fi show if we're not actually dealing with it?
Yeah.
But then, okay. So, it's like dark matter. No, there's nothing like dark matter. That makes no sense. None at all. Let's talk a little bit about.
Can I tell you what I think I know about dark matter based on half an episode of Ologies?
I would love nothing more.
Okay. This is my impression.
Okay, I'm ready.
We know in the universe there's stuff, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And we know that even in the black spacey part, there's also stuff. And then
I know, I was just imagining black spacey part is just awesome. What do you mean by stuff in that part?
Molecules, particles?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's not a complete vacuum. Yeah.
Right.
Sure. Yeah.
And it's the everything else that's the dark matter that there's nothing actually there that can be measured. So it's like the absence of stuff. No. Okay.
You're veering away.
Okay.
So, dark matter is dark in the sense that it is not giving off light that we can see. So when we look at the sky and we see stars, or we see galaxies, if you have a telescope or a really clear light, you can see Andromeda or something. What we're seeing is normal matter because it's glowing, so we can see it.
Okay.
Dark matter is basically just stuff that we can't see. Now, why is that noteworthy? Why is it interesting? Related to an earlier story, at the Madison Roller Derby draft party this past year, I was the host. I was the announcer person, and I had a single cocktail, but it was blue, and I don't know what it was, and I was kind of hungry. Yeah, which is it's not a good sign. And so I was suddenly like, whoa, I feel this. And then I ended up drunk in the bathroom teaching people about dark matter for a while. So people would walk into the bathroom and I'd be like, oh, I was just telling this person about dark matter. Would you like to learn as well? And then some people would leave and more people would join. And I'd be like, let me get you up to speed. So, so
two things to say about
recently.
that. One is that I feel like as far as drunk bathroom conversations go, that's not a bad one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And two, this is why before going out, me and my friends would always have oatmeal. It was like the perfect
so
to like
smart.
make sure we had like a good balance.
That's
We could
very
have,
smart.
a drink or
Yeah.
two, but we had oatmeal.
I was like very busy getting ready to present
Oh, sure,
and
yeah.
everything. And
I know
it
how
just,
it goes.
there was pizza,
Yeah.
but I was like rushing around doing stuff.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I ate like
yeah.
a single slice and it was real thin. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
So you want to tell us?
so, okay. The interesting thing is like, okay, you know that like the more mass, the stronger gravity is, right? Like
Yes.
that's okay with you. So if you look at a galaxy and you look at how fast it's rotating,
Mhm.
Vera Rubin is one of the scientists who discovered this. So we're talking roughly 100 years ago-ish, a little bit less, looking at the speed of different things rotating in a galaxy. So the ones close to the center, things farther off. Let's picture a galaxy as like a merry-go-round at a playground, like one of those kind of dangerous, not like the horses, but like not a carousel, a merry-go-round. And so you can imagine if that spins fast enough, children will just fly right off the side, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And you can also imagine that what fast enough is to dislodge a child kind of depends on where the child is sitting, right? The closer to the center they are, they're probably a little safer.
Yeah.
And so same idea with stars in a galaxy.
Okay.
There is a speed at which they can spin, at which point they will not be bound by gravity anymore. And so we can look at the light from that galaxy and get a sense of how much mass there is. Because planets are so much smaller than stars, right?
I don't like it, but sure.
So for example, the mass of Earth is like 5 times 10 to the 24th kilograms. So
5 times, say that again, 5 times 10 to the 24th. Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's almost 6 times 10 to the 24th.
Okay.
I was not rounding well. Okay. So
the
that's
Earth
like,
is,
that's the Earth.
Okay.
So that's 6 with 24 zeros after it in kilograms. A kilogram is like 2 pounds. Okay. And then the mass of the sun is like 2 times 10 to the 30th. So it is.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that's a difference of 6 zeros. So it is like a million times more massive. Okay. And our sun is not that big as stars go. It's kind of a medium size.
A million times?
Yeah.
More? Oh my God. Oh. Okay.
I love it. So, okay. So the reason I bring this up is that the mass of planets, because we can't see planets when we look at another galaxy. But their mass should not be a big contributor, right? The main amount of mass we're seeing is from the stuff that is light. And so you look at the light coming from a galaxy, you can get a sense of how massive it is, what its mass is. And so there's a disconnect. They're like, if that's how much mass there is, given the speed at which everything is spinning, stuff should be flying off of there. Stuff should not be staying gravitationally bound anymore. And
so is there mass we don't know about? Is that's
dark matter? Exactly. And so the dark in dark matter just means we can't see it with light, like it's not giving off light. And so the big question with dark matter is, what is it? And so there's a lot of theories about what those particles are. And they've tried to do different projects to detect them. I haven't kept up on it much since college. There have not been any huge revelations that I know of, but there's different theories. And so planets would contribute. Things like failed stars, that like brown dwarfs that I mentioned a few episodes ago, like those are technically a type of dark matter because they're not giving off light, but there's just no model that makes sense where they would have the mass to cause these disparities that we see. It
like
would
there's way more than even that would account for.
Way more. Yeah. Like imagine that you're at a playground and one of those merry-go-rounds is spinning really, really fast and the kids are just sitting there totally fine. You're like, something's wrong here. They should be sliding off, screaming. So so that's dark matter. So we're trying to figure out what it is. Again, the problem with detecting it, same with neutrinos, is that the theories about what it is they don't interact much with normal matter. They kind of go on their merry way and don't interact.
Now, is there dark matter everywhere then? Like
that
all
is
around
the
us?
theory. Yeah, we should be sitting in it right now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have heard, and this is, not from reliable sources. I have heard people
Was it
talk about.
Hugo?
Aw. Oh God. We got him a robe for Christmas and this like little fuzzy kid's robe.
Yeah.
And last night I put on my robe, which is blue. I have like a blue, sleepy time robe, like that sleepy time bear. I don't know. And he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna put on mine." And so he went and he put on his blue robe. And it's just like a 6-year-old walking around in this little fuzzy robe is
so
like
cute.
yeah,
Oh my God, that's
impossibly
so
adorable.
cute.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he's very sweet.
Yeah, that's unbearable.
Yeah. Ghosts. I've heard people talk about dark matter in relation to ghosts.
Okay. I mean, we're back to the unicorn problem, right? Like,
okay, yeah.
Sure. The problem is we don't have any tests where we can be like scientifically, yep, that's a ghost.
Yeah.
So like,
sure.
maybe,
right.
But maybe it's unicorns. Equally possible. So
that would be great. Mm-hmm.
It would. Unicorns are made of dark matter.
Any quick thoughts about the phrase, it's like a black hole, it splits molecules into component atoms, reduces matter into pure energy?
I have a lot of thoughts.
Okay.
I mean, I almost like, how much time do we have? Let's take it a little bit at a time. Some of that, I'm like, yeah, there's like the gravity of a black hole is so strong that, yeah, atoms are getting ripped apart. That is reasonable.
Okay.
Like in the same way that like, I don't know. I don't need an analogy. They're getting ripped apart. It's very strong. Pulls them in stronger
like
than they can
things apart
together. Yeah. So that seems reasonable. But the thing about a black hole is it wouldn't just stay in one spot and not affect anything else around it. It's like there's something that really doesn't make sense there. So with a black hole, there's something called the event horizon, right? Where like basically when you get past it, you're fucked, right? You can't that's where anything beyond that and you are black into the black hole. Yeah. So I guess we could theorize that Chester's shadow has a black hole that has an event horizon that, for unknown reasons, is not spherical but shaped like his shadow.
Okay.
And comes with him as opposed to being in space. So I don't like it overall, but I'm like, there's aspects of it that I hate more than others.
Okay.
So yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
So he's telling them this.
Yeah.
And says that Gail Ann, his first victim, was his colleague and that he didn't mean for it to happen. Like he liked Gail Ann. They were just talking and it happened. Like,
oh my God, does that mean he's going and deliberately killing tobacco executives because he's a smoker?
No.
Oh,
no. Sorry.
That would have been awesome.
No.
I would have been like, go for it, Antonio.
I think that was a red herring, the tobacco thing, I think.
Oh, okay.
Unless it's somehow related. Well, we'll see. So he just wants to study it and figure it out before they do, he says. And they, he says, is the government and that they are after him. And now this is the part that I really liked and that I swore they would have to get back to, but they never did. He says, and when they find me, they're going to do the... I'm sorry, hold on. Okay. They're going to do the brain suck they've always wanted to do. And the best part is that Mulder responds to this. And it's like, it mentions the brain suck. So I have both nothing and a lot to say about that. Yeah, the brain suck.
I think what's getting me is they've always wanted to do that. Like they just haven't been given permission before. Like they've been like trying to suck his brain for years.
Yeah.
The government just generally, because he's smart,
I don't know. And like I said, they never mention this again. Yeah, this is not like I expected them to like go back and explain like yeah, but no, that's it.
He doesn't. Well,
That's it. That's it.
so he is like, I can't be caught because they'll suck my brain because
Yeah.
they'll finally have a reason to.
Yeah.
Or justification.
Yeah. Yeah. As far as I can tell. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, he wants Mulder and Scully to get him out of there.
Yeah.
Before they can brain suck him.
Yeah.
And
The way
Kelly
they've always wanted to.
Yeah. Kelly walks in and says that she has to ask them to stop interrogating the suspect and is kind of like mean about it. And so they go outside and the primary detective is there and wants to know, like, what are you doing there? Why are you talking to our suspect? Because she had kind of asked Scully as a favor to do this, you know?
Okay.
And so as they're leaving, Mulder tells Kelly that he needs soft light.
Okay.
So then we see Mulder meeting with X. Yeah. And X says that he doesn't want to help because he was exposed to Mulder's associates last time, Scully and Skinner, right?
Right.
And to not contact him again unless it's absolutely necessary.
Oh, wow.
Then we see people at the facility, at wherever Chester, Tony Shalhoub is. And I think it's like a charge nurse or someone is complaining about the lighting. And then the power goes out. And X is there, and he's saying that he's there to transfer Chester Banton.
Oh my God.
So, yeah. And so Chester is struggling, and people are trying to get him on a gurney and are like tying him down. But then because the lights suddenly come back on, the people disappear into, black holes or whatever.
They're turned into pure energy. Oh, yeah. I did want to mention about the pure energy. Yeah. Like that is not. When you split an atom into its components, an enormous amount of energy is released. Like that's what a nuclear bomb is, right? When you're splitting the atom, that's what's happening. And this is why when I talk about electricity and with my students, when I talk about things having an electric charge, like, you build up static electricity on a balloon or the current in a cord, right? Like that is the motion of electrons only, because they'll try to say, if something's positively charged, it just gained more protons or something. Oh yeah,
no.
The protons are staying put. We are not having nuclear reactions in our classroom.
Now, can we talk for a second? Because protons never change, right? Like neutrons, there can be more neutrons in something, and that's what makes things like isotopes.
Yeah.
Right. But but protons, they never do anything.
Yeah. I think that when you have a different number of protons, you have a different element.
Okay, cool.
And look, as I say that, I'm like, this is chemistry. So I'm like, I think that's true. That certainly feels true.
Oh, would we call this chemistry? There's such a fine line.
Like, sometimes, and I mean, like, this is like physical chemistry, I want to say.
Sure.
Hi, Wolf. Feel free to let us know what you think when you listen to this. Right? Like, it's, I mean, there is that stuff when you start talking about quantum or you start talking about anything with atoms that it's like, it's a little chemistry, it's a little physics, but like, as far as like isotopes and different types of elements and whatnot, like that I think of it as chemistry. Like, maybe I think of it that way because I don't do much with it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like a triangle, really, where we have like biology, chemistry, and physics, and then we have like, biological physics or physical biology. I don't know what they call it. Biophysics. Yeah. And biochemistry. Yeah. And physical chemistry. And I didn't get a chemistry minor because I didn't want to have to take physical chemistry.
Oh, wow. No kidding.
Story about it. Yeah.
I knew a lot of people who got chemistry minors because, I don't know, it seemed reasonable to physics majors, and I know a lot of people. Chemistry and math were the two that people mostly did. I did women's studies, so
that's way more fun and interesting.
Way more interesting.
Yeah.
I felt like I need a break. Like in retrospect, though, I do wish I took more math. I took the minimum amount of math. I wish if I just had time, if I was independently wealthy, I would totally go take math.
Oh, sure. Yeah, me
Yeah.
too. Yeah. Um,
For
so
just
Chester,
a second, just a
oh,
split second, I was like, "Oh, cool, you too." And then I was like, "No, no, no, okay,
no,
yeah,
no, I absolutely would not. Um, I'll even like walk past in the hallway to the women's bathroom is nearby some of the math classrooms, and I'll hear like one of my colleagues saying DXDT and be like, oh,
that's
gotta get out of here.
velocity, DXTT. That's the derivative of position. That's velocity.
Oh,
Yay,
cool. Great.
great.
Yep.
So
So
Chester's
Chester
he
walks
zaps
out.
some people.
Yeah.
Okay.
And X pulls a gun on him. But then
Oh.
Chester runs and X lets him go.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Okay. X.
Yeah. So then Kelly, Mulder, and Scully are all there investigating at the facility the next day. And Mulder thinks he's escaped. And that if he has escaped, that he's going to go to the one place where he thinks he can control this. So back to the physics facility, back
the
to
lab.
polarity magnetics. Yeah.
Right.
And that they have to get there first.
Okay.
So then it shows the research facility, and Chester is talking to Chris, and Kelly is there, and she pulls a gun on Chester, but then she gets too close to him and turns into cosmic goo. Yeah.
Okay.
So Chester tells Chris to come with him, and he kind of looks at the goo. I think that was Chris's first experience with the goo, and is kind of like, oh, and is understandably concerned, but he follows him.
Yeah. Okay.
And Chester goes into the room, into the particle accelerator room, and tells Chris that he's doing the right thing and to lock him in there and hit start, basically.
Whoa.
And Chris refuses and is like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
And it comes out that he works for the government. Chris works for the government and is one of the people that wants to do the brain suck. So Chris then, so he's locked, Chester is locked in the room, and Chris calls the government to say like, hey, he's here. I've got him. But then suddenly he's shot and collapses.
By X?
Well, probably.
Okay.
So, Mulder and Scully get there and they see the goo that was Kelly. And then they hear the accelerator running.
Mm-hmm.
And so they rush in and they see it on, and they see on the screen that there's someone, like sitting in there. And then we like see him sitting there, and then his shadow is burned onto the wall and his body disappears.
Whoa.
Yeah. So then Mulder is meeting X somewhere dark and subterranean looking. And Mulder confronts him and says that Mulder thinks that X already knew about Chester and that was using Mulder to get to him, essentially.
Okay.
And says that the woman at the hospital had identified X as being one of the ones that came in.
Okay.
But X says that he did not kill Dr. Banton, Chester. Huh. He maintains he did not. But I'll say it now. My theory, I think, is that, right, X must have been the one to shoot him and then turn on the accelerator.
Yeah.
That's my assumption. So then it shows Kelly's funeral, and Mulder comes up to Scully afterwards and tells her that there was a missing persons report filed by someone named Morris West. And if you recall, at the start of the episode, Chester was in the hallway banging on doors asking for Morris.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And Morris West filed a missing persons report for Chris. And so they think that maybe it wasn't Banton who was in the particle accelerator, but it was Chris or Chris's body.
Oh.
And so Scully says, well, if Banton isn't dead, then where is he?
Yeah.
Then we see X walking down a hallway, and a guy in a lab coat is watching through a window as we're seeing like flashing lights through the window.
Oh,
And then we
no.
see Dr. Banton, Chester, is sitting in the room with the flashing lights, wearing hooked up to an EEG, which maybe is
Oh.
the brain's lock. I don't know if he just means an EEG and is real bad at medical
Words?
sciences.
They've been trying to give me an EEG for years.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty non-invasive.
Yeah.
But
Oh my
yeah, so
God.
they got him.
Oh
They
God,
got him.
that's
Yeah.
a rough ending, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Sometimes
he
I
just,
watch these
yeah.
episodes and they end and I just think like, what a
Mhm.
like downer ending. Like
Yeah.
how am I supposed to feel
Right.
right now? Just kind of like, ugh, ugh.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel any sense of anything other than just oh, I don't know.
Mhm.
Down.
Yeah.
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 Man.
Yeah. It was kind of a bummer ending. Yeah. They got him. And
Yeah.
it seems like X was the one to deliver him there. I mean, from what it
Yeah.
seems like. So he
It
must have
really does seem that
put,
way.
yeah, put
Yeah.
Chris's body in the accelerator and then taken
Yeah.
Chester.
Man.
So, mhm.
Yipes. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's just 2 more episodes of season
Yeah.
2. Is that right?
Just 2 more episodes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What's
Up next-
what's the next one?
Our Town. It
Our
is
Town,
one
okay.
with
The play? I mean, is this just the
it doesn't seem to have anything to do with the play.
okay? All right.
It's the one where a federal poultry inspector is killed by an axe-wielding masked man, but no body
Ooh.
is found.
Ooh.
I believe this is one that has prions because
Oh.
prions frighten Amanda, and I
Okay.
remember that. What's that disease that's prions? What's that prion disease?
Oh, there's a fear.
Creutzfeldt
There's Creutzfeldt Jakob.
I think this has Creutzfeldt.
Yeah.
It's the cannibal
Okay.
one. I think that cannibalism is involved in
Then
this
here,
episode.
how's this? So the last one is Anasazi, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And that for sure has X in it, right?
Fucking better. Yes.
Okay. So how about we switch again so that
Okay.
especially because next week is my spring break. So I'll do Our
Perfect.
Town because it has
Perfect.
prions, and then you
Yeah.
can take
Anasazi.
Anasazi.
Thank
yeah.
you. That sounds good. And then you'll get,
Okay.
I mean, here's the thing. Anasazi is the first half of a 2-parter. So we know that what is more likely is that X won't be in the first half and he'll be in the second half.
Would you like
what's the
to
other?
keep things as they are?
No. I think, the blessing way. That's what
Oh,
it is.
yeah.
Oh my God. They're
Right.
so
I
good.
remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
Mhm.
start. I'll do Anasazi. You do the blessing way. Yeah. So you do another one
Okay.
that works for me because it's also my
Okay.
spring break, but I'm also in Mexico doing this writing retreat, and I'm going to be
Right.
busy with people. And I don't know. I did robot arms. I'm managing the people. I'm moving them over here, moving them over there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that works great. And I also
Great.
feel like I don't want to watch this one because I think it's going to be kind of itchy.
Sure.
So
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll take it then. Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I
perfect.
enjoyed this quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think talking about it was probably a lot more fun than watching it would have been.
Well, I mean, watching it was fine. Like that's
Okay.
the
Yeah.
thing. Like I said, like it was fine. It
Yeah,
wasn't,
I
yeah.
thought this was a lot of fun, so that's better than fine.
Yeah.
So
good.
there we go.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right. Well, until next time,
Next
we'll
week.
see you later. Have fun in
Bye.
Mexico. To
I will.
everyone in Mexico as well as Liz.